why would I be so invested in the W if the people who are actually in the W don't care as much? I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but do you guys get what I'm saying? And that's kind of why I'm just like, let me know if there's a season. I would love to cover basketball. I'm kind of over the reality show element of it all. I didn't know that
That frustration you just heard, that's not coming from a casual observer. Rachel DeMita has covered the WNBA extensively for years, and she just said something that should terrify league executives. Covering the WNBA has become a chore. When your most dedicated content creators are checking out, you've got a serious problem. And it's not just her.
About all of this, it's kind of similar to NBA All-Star, and stick with me. NBA All-Star, a lot of fans weren't caring about it the last few years because it felt like the players weren't caring about it. They were going out there, they weren't playing with a whole lot of intensity, they weren't putting on the greatest show in the world, yet it was supposed to be the greatest players in the world, so fans started to not care about it. They didn't care about it because they're like, how can we care about it if the players themselves don't care about it? That's how it's starting to feel with the W.
Let's talk about what happened this past weekend. Breanna Stewart, co-founder of Unrivaled, the league literally designed to keep WNBA players from going overseas, just announced she's playing for Fenerbahce in Turkey from April 15th to April 19th. Training camp for the WNBA season starts April 19th, the same day as the EuroLeague final. The irony is almost too perfect. You created a league specifically so players wouldn't have to go overseas during the offseason, and now you're going overseas during the offseason anyway. But here's what makes this more than just ironic. It's a signal.
NBA as well. And I think a lot of fans are with me on this. It's like, why should we care so much about the season starting on time or about actually having a 2026 season if it seems like the people at the table also don't care that much? And we can go back to that big meeting that they had when some of the biggest voices in the WNBPA didn't make it to that meeting. And Breanna Stewart was one of them. She had obligations in Unrivaled to play in Unrivaled. Fair enough. She can do whatever she wants. But to me, it seems like that was more important that day. Being in Unrivaled and playing for Unrivaled was more important than her being at the table and doing the negotiations with the WNBA owners and the WNBA committee. If the players don't care that much, why should we? And that's kind of where I'm at with.
This is the second major signal we've gotten about priorities. The first one came during that critical CBA meeting where some of the biggest voices in the WNBA didn't show up. Breanna Stewart was one of them. She had obligations to Unrivaled. Fair enough. She can do whatever she wants with her time. But when you're on the negotiating committee for the most important labor deal in WNBA history and you skip the meeting to play in a different league, what message does that send? Now she's announced another overseas commitment that butts right up against WNBA training camp. And fans are starting to ask a very uncomfortable question. If the players themselves don't seem to care whether the WNBA season happens on time, why should we?
I don't know who's making the decisions at the end of the day as to what goes on the WNBPA's Instagram page. And then also during NBA All-Star Weekend, Commissioner Adam Silver, he said we're getting awfully close to the 11th hour when it comes to bargaining. And he also said that he's not ready to set a drop-dead date. But what I'd love to accomplish is putting pressure on everybody. And when he was asked about it, there was no optimism in his response. Like, it seems like he has been hearing what's going on. He's not necessarily at the table, but at the same time, like, the NBA is doing a million things. For anybody who expects...
Think about the NBA All-Star Game for a second. For years, fans stopped caring about it. Why? Because it felt like the players didn't care about it. They weren't playing defense. They weren't competing. They were just going through the motions. And fans responded by tuning out. You can't expect people to be invested in something when the participants themselves clearly aren't invested. That's exactly what's happening with the WNBA right now. The CBA negotiations have been dragging on for months. There's no new deal. Training camp is supposed to start in 2 months. And the people at the negotiating table keep making decisions that suggest they have other priorities. Unrivaled, overseas leagues, Project B, everything except getting a deal done so the WNBA season can start on time. Adam Silver said it himself during NBA All-Star Weekend. We're getting awfully close to the 11th hour. And when asked about it, there was no optimism in his response. None. He's not at the table every day. He's got an entire NBA to run. But even from the outside looking in, he can see this isn't going well.
respect for the WNBA owners and just the league itself, because I'm like, you guys are just taking so much disrespect and just don't seem to care. I want to give players the benefit of the doubt, but everything that they've been doing publicly, and again, it's just the committee, everything that they've been putting out publicly has soured this for all of us. And obviously Valentine's Day was this past weekend, and the WNBPA posted, "Roses are red, violets are blue. We love a proposal that values players too." It's funny because I would expect this. Like, everybody who's so...
Here's where the public relations strategy has completely backfired. The WNBA Players Association has been very vocal, very public with their grievances. Social media posts, inflatable rats, constant commentary about how the league isn't valuing them. And look, maybe they have legitimate concerns. Maybe they deserve more. But when you air everything publicly, when you turn labor negotiations into a reality show, you create a different problem. Fans start to see the dysfunction, they start to see the priorities, and they start to wonder if anyone actually wants to play basketball. On Valentine's Day, the WNBPA posted, "Roses are red, violets are blue. We love a proposal that values players too." Then, this situationship has gone on for too long. Then, maybe it's time to make it official. Cute wordplay. But what does it actually accomplish? Does it move negotiations forward? Does it get us closer to a deal? Or does it just keep the drama going?
I started covering the WNBA a few years ago when I started really diving into it and getting more heavily involved, that it would be 20% basketball and 80% reality TV show. And it's funny because I actually heard a comedian say that the only way you could get women interested in the WNBA is if you made it like a reality show and there was just like a ton of drama, which is such a knock on women in general, saying like they're not going to be interested in sports unless you add in drama, basically.
And this is where it gets really frustrating for people who actually love WNBA basketball. Because WNBA basketball, when it's played at the highest level, is the best women's basketball on the planet. That's not debatable. You want to watch the best players in the world compete against each other every single night? That's the WNBA. Not college, where South Carolina blows out opponents by 60 points for most of the season. Not overseas leagues where the talent is diluted. The WNBA is where the best play the best. But we can't talk about basketball right now. We can't analyze the Indiana Fever's roster. We can't preview the new expansion teams. We can't discuss what Caitlin Clark is going to do in year 2, or how Paige Buckers will translate to the pros. We can't talk about Aja Wilson's dominance, or the Liberty's championship defense. We're stuck talking about CBA negotiations and social media posts, and whether there's even going to be a season. Rachel said it perfectly. It's become 20% basketball and 80% reality TV show.
I would be shocked if it started on time. I truly would. But that's coming from Adam Silver. Like, there has been no movement in the CBA. I am starting to not care. Like, let me know if there's a season. I would love to cover basketball. I would love to cover what all of these players are doing on the court. I guess you could say I'm a WNBA, NBA purist. Like, I firmly believe that WNBA basketball is the best basketball on the planet. I'm not interested in seeing a bunch of other things. Like, you can even talk about college basketball, incredible basketball, but if you want to watch every single game that South Carolina...
Let's be clear about what's at stake here. The WNBA just had its best season in history. Caitlin Clark brought unprecedented attention to the league. Ratings were up across the board. Attendance records were shattered. Merchandise sales exploded. Expansion teams are paying $50 million just for the right to join the league. This is the moment. This is when you capitalize on momentum. Instead, we're watching that momentum evaporate in real time. Every week that goes by without a CBA deal is another week that casual fans lose interest. Every social media post that makes this look like a soap opera is another reason for mainstream audiences to tune out. Every signal that players have other priorities is another excuse for fans to find something else to watch. And here's the thing that should terrify everyone involved: once you lose momentum in sports, it's incredibly hard to get it back. The WNBA has spent 25 years trying to build a sustainable fan base. Last season, they finally broke through. And now they're risking it all over a labor negotiation that's being conducted in the most public, most dysfunctional way possible.
See what happens, but that's pretty much the updates on everything. The next basketball thing for us to cover when it comes to women's basketball and professional women's basketball would be Team USA qualifiers, which we covered that in our last episode and talked about the qualifying matches. We saw the brand new Team USA roster, which is a lot of young guns. So that is something to look forward to next month in March. But until then, they're kind of still at a standstill with the WNBA CBA. I don't know if we'll have a season. I don't know if it will start late, but I'm done speculating and we will just have to see. But with that, you guys, that's all that I have.
So where does this leave us? Training camp is supposed to start April 19th. That's less than 2 months away. There's no CBA deal. There's no indication that one is close. Adam Silver is basically saying they're running out of time, and the people who are supposed to be most invested in making this work keep making decisions that suggest they're fine if it doesn't. Breanna Stewart will be in Turkey playing for Fenerbahce right up until training camp starts, if it starts. Other players have made it clear they have backup options. Unrivaled exists. Overseas leagues are always hiring. Project B is apparently waiting in the wings. The message is clear. We don't need the WNBA as much as the WNBA needs us. And maybe that's true. Maybe the players do have enough leverage that they can afford to play hardball. Maybe they can afford to let the season start late, or not start at all. But here's what they can't afford: to lose the fans who finally started paying attention. Because those fans, they have options too. The NBA playoffs start in April. College baseball is heating up. The NFL draft is coming. There are 1,000 things competing for attention. And if the message from WNBA players is we're not sure if we want to play, then fans are going to find something else to watch. And they might not come back. Rachel said she's done speculating. She'll cover basketball when there's basketball to cover. And honestly, that's where a lot of fans are right now. The excitement from last season is fading. The patience is running out. The benefit of the doubt is gone. You can only tell people to stay tuned for so long before they change the channel. The WNBA had its moment. The question now is whether they're going to throw it away over a labor deal that should have been done months ago. Whether they're going to let egos and public posturing destroy the momentum that took 25 years to build. Whether they're going to prioritize basketball or keep treating this like a reality show. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If WNBA players themselves don't seem to care whether the season happens on time, why should you? Drop your answer in the comments. Because right now, a lot of fans are asking themselves that same question. And the longer this drags on without a resolution, the more of them are going to decide they don't have a good answer.